This exercise will use constraints to combine all the entities into a single Swiss Army knife. When adding constraints to a sketch, there is no set way to constrain certain elements to each other, so long as the intended function is reached. This exercise will model that by using different constraints to achieve the mirrored results. To start, I'll constrain and dimension the center rectangle and the arcs in the center of the sketch. I'll zoom in and set the arc's tangent to the rectangle. I can do that easily by activating the tangent constraint, selecting the arc, and the top of the rectangle. For the other side, instead of using the tangent constraint, I can, in this case, obtain a mirrored result with the midpoint constraint. I'll activate the midpoint constraint, select the center point of the arc, and then the left line of the rectangle. Due to the geometry of the arc, this midpoint constraint will make the arc tangent to the rectangle. To finish the handle, I'll activate the Sketch Dimension command. Set the radius of the right arc to 3 mm and the length of the rectangle to 60 mm. Next, I'll constrain the scissors sketch and then connect them to the left side of the handle. I'll pan to better view the scissors. The first constraint I'll add is a symmetric constraint between the blades. I'll activate the symmetric constraint, select the flat line of the top blade, the flat line of the bottom blade, and finally, the construction line. Since I want the scissors to be the same size as the handle, I'll make the arcs at the ends equal. I'll activate the equal constraint. Select the arc at the base of the scissors, and then the left arc of the handle. Now I'll connect them by simply activating the coincident constraint and selecting the center point of both arcs. I'll drag the top point of the left blade to bring the blade in, and finally, add a dimension to the blade arcs to finish the scissors. I'll activate the Sketch Dimension command and set the arc to 7 mm. Finally, I need to constrain the bottle opener and connect it to the handle. I'll pan over to it. And I'll first add a pair of perpendicular constraints to the cutout. I'll activate the perpendicular constraint, select the outer bottom line, and the connected cutout line. Since the tool stays active, I can add the second constraint by reselecting the cutout line and the connected line leading to the arc. Next, I'll make the lines on either side of the cutout collinear. I'll activate the collinear constraint and select the two lines I wish to be collinear. Now that all the constraints in the bottle opener are in place, I'll connect it to the base. I could make the center points of the arcs coincident like I did with the scissors, but this time I'll use the concentric constraint. I'll activate the concentric constraint, and instead of clicking the center points of the arcs, I'll select the arcs themselves. To finish the sketch, I simply need to make the arcs equal. I'll activate the equal constraint and select both arcs. With that, the sketch is complete.